In the primordial dawn of worlds, when Earth wore robes of eternal spring and the northern realms blazed with paradisiacal splendor, there arose the mighty race of the Hyperboreans. From the dissolving essence of their ethereal predecessors, the Polarian host, these beings of light condensed into forms of breathtaking majesty, standing as living bridges between the realms of pure spirit and the awakening world of matter. 40 million years before mortal memory would begin its record, when continents bore shapes unknown to present geography, and polar ice was but a distant prophecy, the Hyperborean civilization flourished in magnificent glory. Their realms stretched across vast territories where tropical gardens bloomed beneath aurora-painted skies, and crystal-clear waters reflected the radiance of beings who knew neither death nor decay. Behold their sublime forms. 12 to 15 feet in stature, their bodies wrought of condensed starlight and ethereal fire, translucent as mountain crystal, pulsing with gold and silver luminescence that matched the rhythm of cosmic harmonies. No dense flesh imprisoned their spirits, no brittle bones confined their essence. They were creatures of transition, majestic in their otherworldly beauty, terrible in their divine perfection. In those blessed eons, the great division had not yet sundered humanity into male and female. The Hyperboreans existed as complete beings, perfect unities containing within themselves all the creative powers of the cosmos. When the sacred time of generation arrived, guided by stellar influences and the will of celestial hierarchies, new souls would bud forth from their luminous parents like flowers blooming at the touch of divine love. Their voices were not as mortal speech, but streams of liquid music that painted the air with cascading colours. Every thought became living light, every emotion a symphony of hues that danced between their translucent forms. Lies were impossible among them, for their hearts shone clear as windows, and deception could find no dwelling in their radiant beings. Across the Hyperborean territories rose dwellings of impossible beauty, not built but sung into existence, not carved, but crystallized from pure intention. These living structures of condensed ether shifted and flowed according to their inhabitants' needs, shimmering palaces that rose like frozen music, dissolving and reforming in endless architectural symphonies that mirrored the cosmic dance above. The nature of that distant age knew no rigid boundaries. Mineral and plant, animal and human shared in the same ethereal substance, and consciousness flowed freely between all forms of life. Titanic trees spiraled skyward in perfect sacred geometry, their crystalline leaves catching and refracting the thoughts of the Hyperboreans into prismatic cascades of living wisdom. Gentle giants roamed the land, creatures of dream and mist who communed with their human companions in wordless understanding. For countless millennia this golden age endured, unmarked by conflict or sorrow. The Hyperboreans dwelt in perpetual communion with the spiritual hierarchies that guide planetary evolution, those mighty beings of pure light whose names resound through eternity, seraphim and cherubim, thrones and dominions. To the Hyperboreans, these were not distant deities, but intimate companions in the grand work of cosmic unfoldment. Yet even in paradise, the wheels of destiny turn according to immutable law. As eons passed, subtle changes began to stir in the depths of Hyperborean consciousness. The cosmic plan demanded deeper experience, greater density of being, a descent into matter that would allow the human spirit to gather the full harvest of existence. The great teachers of wisdom foresaw what must come and prepared their people for the transformation that would reshape their very nature. Gradually, almost imperceptibly at first, the ethereal bodies of the Hyperboreans began to densify. Delicate structures of crystallized light appeared within their forms, the first faint beginnings of what would become bone and sinew. Their dreamlike consciousness stirred with new currents of individual awareness, and within their unified beings the first tremors of the Great Division began to make themselves felt. As the earth itself began its slow cooling, as the polar regions gradually surrendered their tropical abundance to the advancing ice, the Hyperborean race found itself at the threshold of momentous change. The principle of gender, dormant through eons of unity, began to awaken within their luminous forms. Some began to embody the solar principle, growing taller and more radiant, while others manifested the lunar essence, becoming softer and more flowing in their ethereal beauty. This was no catastrophe, but a sacred metamorphosis ordained by cosmic law and blessed by the highest wisdom. The Hyperboreans embraced their transformation with the same serene acceptance with which they had lived their millions of years in unity. Those who carried the seeds of the future migrated southward to warmer lands, where they would become the ancestors of the magnificent Lemurian civilization. Others remained in their ancestral territories, adapting to the changing climate, their ethereal forms gradually clothing themselves in denser matter as they evolved into transitional beings who would preserve the ancient wisdom through the long ages of materialization that lay ahead. The final act of Hyperborean civilization was not a destruction, but a graduation, not an ending, but a transformation. As their luminous bodies completed their descent into the world of form, as their unity consciousness divided itself into the multiplicity that would characterize all future human experience, they carried within themselves the eternal memory of that primordial perfection. Thus passed the age of Hyperborea, not in cataclysm, but in metamorphosis, not in death, but in the sacred evolution that leads all creation back to its divine source. In the depths of human memory, in the yearning for lost paradise, in the eternal hope for return to unity, the Hyperborean light still burns, calling the children of Earth to remember their celestial heritage and to work toward that distant but certain day when matter and spirit shall dance together once more in perfect harmony.